Hello everybody, Jam here and welcome back to round 2 of the Touring Car Championship. This time we're lining up for race 2, where after a very good race 1 you can see myself and Tom sharing the second row for Overtakes, starting in second and third, and of course the rear-wheel drive launch, giving us both a fantastic opportunity to move forward right from the start, and that's exactly what we've done. I got the better of the two of us, or the better start of the two of us, and you can see me just up ahead as we ride on board with Tom now, but he's also ahead of the Audi that did start on the front row, although he's immediately back behind him once we get round the second and third corners chicane. As, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure what happened there. It just seemed like a pretty good move. I don't think Tom went particularly wide. The Audi just got the corner spot on. Used a little bit of the run-off on the exit, but I mean, I think a lot of cars were using a lot of run-off, and probably including myself and Tom as well. So, and as I've mentioned previously in the I think part of the round 1, using a lot of run-off, using a lot of light contact. It's touring cars, whatever. But anyway, yes, yeah, let's get back to the racing now as we settle in for the first lap. Staying on board with Tom, you can see myself just up ahead, trying to hang on to the leader. If we remember back to the previous race, I was trying to get past the Audi that's currently in third place. I was trying to overtake him from third place to get into the position I'm in now, which is obviously second. So now I'm in front of him, I've got a chance to prove that I really could have got past him in the last race if I'd managed, or at least I can prove that I would have stayed in front of him if I'd got past. Remember, I closed the gap up, I went for that overtake, it didn't work, and then the gap opened up again. But I then did close it back up again towards the end of the race, so I felt like I had better pace, and hopefully I can show that in this race by pulling away from him and potentially challenging the leader, although he did sort of bugger off in the last race, so he's certainly one to watch out for. We'll come to the end of the first lap of this race though, obviously, you know, the one you're watching, which is probably the one I should be talking about, and things haven't really changed. Tom's dropped back a little bit from the front three, and but there's no real change in position. Jumping forward, I think, probably a whole lap. I don't know exactly when I edited this, so some of this could be as a surprise to me as it is to you. I'm not exactly sure what I'm about to be watching, but Tom looks like he's defending pretty hard going into the first real corner. Obviously turn 1 is the very flat out right-hander. Tom's got a bit of oversteer on the exit of, I think he's actually turn 3, but probably on the second proper corner, second part of the chicane at the start, and out-dragged on the exit down towards the long right-hander. He tucked his nose up the inside. Can he stick it back? No, he can't. Okay, that's interesting. Tom, I just mentioned before the start of that cut how it was dropping away from the lead 3, and he's now has dropped a position back to P5. Let's hope that he does have the pace to keep the pressure on the Chevy. He's not dropping back immediately, so could turn into a good race for him. And look at that, there's 2x2 behind in the background, so hopefully if they keep fighting like that, they're not going to be putting Tom under any pressure. On to my point of view for the first time this race now, and we can see what the gap is like to the leader, and also behind, because you know that's how replays work. We can see what's going on. Depending on the exact camera shot, we can see what the gaps are like. The Chevy Cruze in first position is another one of those cars that's taking a much wider line into this long right-hander, which is rather off-putting when I'm on a very tight line with my rear-wheel drive Beamer. It's just one of the things that makes it different between the two drive lines. But through this long left-hander, tell you what, that Chevy Cruze looked like he made a little bit of a mistake. Almost gave me half a chance to nip my nose up the inside. Couldn't quite manage it because I was just a little bit too far back, though I did take a nice tight exit to try and capitalise, but you know, he's made a little bit of a mistake, but he did have a bit of a gap, and like I said, he was on pole position, he won the first race by quite a distance while I was busy trying to get second and failing. So he's showing some real pace. I'm going to have my work really cut out to try and even stay with him, let alone have a chance of getting past. But hopefully you can see in the background of some of these shots, I am just about staying with the leader, and at the same time the gap back to the Audi in third place seems to have grown a little bit, so hopefully we can sort of move into a top 2 fight without keeping anybody else involved. You can see there coming around the last couple of corners, not really much of a gap at all. Back to my teammate Tom, and unfortunately it's going to be more defending from him. I said maybe he could take the fight to the Chevy Cruze after the white one that did get past, but you can see just in there, up in the distance when we can see him. Yeah, he's caught up to the back of the Audi in third and looks like he's going to be challenging for a podium, whereas Tom is looking like it is, as I've mentioned, going to be more defending on the menu. Can't really see a lot from this camera angle, but there is an Audi somewhere just behind him. There it is. Yeah, very close. It's that tantalising distance. Oh, he's really pushing hard through there, running wide on the exit of that very quick chicane. But yeah, that sort of distance back is so infuriating, and I should know, I've been in that distance back quite a lot in this round, where you're just within reach, but you're not quite close enough to even try and set up an overtake. You can get nice and close through these slow corners, just through the concertina effect, and the great launch out the corner from the Audi. The Audis were exiting the corners very quickly, so you can even, I think, gave Tom a bit of a bump on that exit, but we know that the BMW is very competitive at top end speed down towards turn 1, especially compared to one of the other Audis. This one seems to be more competitive at top end though, moving up the inside and holding it round the outside for the second part of the chicane. Once again using a bit of the runoff, but I mean, he kind of needed to. I think he's touched the grass there though on the run down towards the long right-hander. Now the yellow Audi's going to be looking like he's getting involved. The pink and green one's running wide at this point. Can he hold it around the outside? Again, running wide over the curb. I think Tom's alongside now, but he's going to be on the outside into the long left-hander. Can he sweep around the outside? I think there's a bit of contact there with the yellow car. And there's definitely some contact between the two Audis as they are all over the grass on the inside of the corner. I'm not quite sure what happened there or what caused it, but Tom has come out on top of that little battle, and I think he's got a little bit of a gap back behind him, and the yellow car has got past the pink and green one, and there's another Audi in the background of that fight as well now. Another quick check in with me though, and like I said, I know what I'm talking about when I'm saying this is a frustrating distance, because I'm just there. I'm so nearly within striking distance, but it's just not quite close enough. It's infuriating. I spent so long in that distance behind the Audi in the previous race, and now doing it for this race, it's just annoying. We are now back to Tom though, where he's defending from, quite frankly, a horde of Audis. We've got the yellow one that managed to get past the pink and green one, then it's the pink and green one that got passed by the yellow one, and then there's another one in the background as well, which is, I think, the teammate of the one that's currently in third in this race, or at least still fighting for third. I'm not sure how that battle's turning out at this point. So, yeah, I just got to sit and watch and see if Tom can manage to hold on to this position. Remember, he's already sort of lost it once, but was fortunate to regain it. So let's hope that he can now stay in this position until the end of the race. Getting a couple of bumps there going through the last sector. The Audi's potentially getting a little bit impatient. There's not too long left in this race now. I would love to do a race or a lap counter or something on screen to make it nice and easy to tell what's going on, but my editing skills aren't that great and there's nothing to use in the replays, and yeah, it's just one of those annoying things I think we'll have to put up with. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, I think there is now... Well, okay, yeah, so speaking of, this is now the final lap. And I got my first half a chance of trying to take the lead in this race, but didn't quite work out, shoving my nose up the inside of the long left-hander. Got a good run out of the corner though, and I'm still right on his bumper as we come to the double right-hander. But again, not quite close enough. If this was the Audi that I was fighting in the last race, I'd probably have a good chance of overtaking into the chicane, but I don't have the top speed advantage over the Chevy Cruze. These two cars were far closer matched. Not obviously all the cars are pretty close in terms of lap time, but in terms of the way the cars get that lap time, the BMW is far similar, or far more similar to the Chevy. I think that makes sense. The Audi is obviously a little bit different. It gets a lot of its speed through the corner exit, and not so much at the top end like the Beamer does. But going into the last few corners, you can see just how close I am. It gets a little bit out of shape in the last corner, and I tried to shove my nose in. I tapped in wide, and you might have seen me tap on the brakes just to make sure I didn't take the wind through that. But I had to have a go. It was half a chance, and I didn't really have anything to lose. But like I said, did give him a bit of contact and had to back off and make sure I just stayed in second, because it wouldn't have been fair if I did win like that. That is enough of me though. We're back to Tom to watch his end of the race, catching up with him halfway around the last lap, and he's defending hard from one of the Audis on the inside around the double right-hander, and somehow the Audi makes it stick around the outside. That was one hell of a move. Very unfortunate for Tom, but when a car's just going to drive around the outside of you like that, there's not really much you can do. Let's see if Tom can fight back around the last sector, pushing very hard, running slightly wide through the very quick chicane. The Audi behind him wants to get involved by the looks of things, giving him a bump into the right-hander towards the end of the lap. Around the left-hander now, and can we see the car in front? We just about catch him as the replay cuts off. So Tom would come home to finish in, I think it was 6th or 7th, I can't actually remember, I should probably go and check. I finished 2nd as you saw, and I'll show you how that affects the overall standings at the end of the next episode. So until then, goodbye.